the fact that art has always been my favorite thing, but yet I never became an artist, you know?
Yeah.
So now is the time.
It is.
Right, you two?
The time is now.
I just finished a painting session and I had a pretty profound moment while I was painting, so much so that I feel a little sick. And I wanted to share it with you, because what is the point of sharing this journey if I'm not sharing these deeper, more profound moments and thoughts that come up? And any act of creating is going to tap into some of those deeper feelings and thoughts. And I was painting and listening to music, as I often do, and lately I've been feeling compelled to go back and listen to some of the more like influential artists and albums from my life that, you know, I feel like when I was younger, I was more, I would get so like involved and addicted to certain albums, and they had really strong effects on me and my life and my taste in music. So one of those albums is Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream. I was, I think, in 9th grade when that album came out, and I couldn't have been more obsessed with an album. I just loved it so much. I can still sing every word, every lyric on that album, and I've been listening to it lately, and I put it on while I was painting, and I started having these deep feelings of nostalgia, because when I was in high school, I painted all the time. I was really involved in my art practice, and at that particular time in my life, I went to a school where art was really highly valued, and was super lucky to have this beautiful art studio to work out of. Art was an incredibly important part of who I was, and it was also the time in my life when I really started feeling self-conscious about creating art. I was in high school and I was with other people who were also incredible artists, and I would judge my work against their work. And, you know, I think that self-consciousness is one of the big reasons that people stop making art when they get older. When we're younger, we don't think about being judged, and we don't judge our own art. We just create. And the self-judgment and the judgment from others tends to be what creates these blockers. So anyway, I was reconnecting with all of those feelings just listening to this album. And then the next album I listened to was Dummy by Portishead, which was another profoundly influential album in my life. I don't know, I was in 10th or 11th grade when that one came out. And that time of my life was really bad, like a really profound turning point in my life that affected my whole life trajectory, and art became very much a refuge for me. And my art became very dark at that time, and it was such a survival tool for me to cope with the very dark and lonely feelings that I had at that particular time in my life. And so again, these like waves of nostalgia were coming back as I was painting and listening to this music and reconnecting to who I was at that time. And it all came back to this conversation that I had with a good friend of mine recently, and just telling her what I was up to. We were catching up, and I was sharing this journey I'm on to rededicate myself to painting and creating and being an artist, because I feel that I lost that person, and that person is who I am. It's who I am on such a deep and fundamental level. And I've spent so many years of my adulthood neglecting, ignoring, and sometimes completely avoiding that person and being distracted by so many other things, so many other paths, which had their own value, of course. And here I am back in this moment. And I'm sharing all this to say that who you are deep inside yourself, and those things that are important to you, you know what they are. You know what they are, and you know whether or not they have a presence in your life. And when you make the space to connect with those parts of who you are so deeply honoring that piece of you. It moves you. It really does. And it will make you feel profoundly alive. And there's so many emotions connected to this, because it makes me feel really happy to paint, like profoundly. I love it. It's so much fun. And it brings up a lot of deep feelings of sadness and sometimes deep, deep regret, that's all there to be acknowledged and honored and worked through. And I'm grateful that I have these moments to confront those feelings and memories, and to really make a point of honoring this part of who I am. So I wanted to share this very real moment with you and these thoughts, and this is all part of the journey. And I hope that it resonates for you in some way. And if so, I would love to hear about that. Thank you.